A customer brought a torn-up pair of shoes and demanded, "Give me a brand new pair, these fell apart after 3 years." When I refused, she scoffed. "You just lost a valuable customer." I smiled, pulled up her purchase history, and said, "Actually, you've never spent a dime here, but nice try. I work at a well-known shoe store in downtown Chicago. It's a bustling place, especially during the holiday season. We get all sorts of customers, but one particular encounter stands out vividly in my memory. It was a chilly November afternoon when she walked in. She appeared to be in her late 40s, dressed in a designer coat and carrying a handbag that probably cost more than my monthly rent. She approached the counter with a scowl, holding a pair of tattered shoes. "These fell apart after just 3 years," she said, placing the worn-out shoes on the counter. "I demand a brand new pair." I picked up the shoes and examined them. They were scuffed, the soles were worn thin, and there were visible holes. It was clear they had been used extensively. "Ma'am," I began politely, "our return policy covers manufacturing defects up to 1 year. These shoes show signs of regular wear and tear over 3 years, which isn't covered under our policy." Her eyes narrowed. "Are you implying that your products are of such poor quality that they can't last more than 3 years? I maintained my composure. "Not at all, ma'am. In fact, lasting 3 years with regular use is indicative of their durability. However, wear and tear over time isn't considered a defect." She huffed. "I've been a loyal customer for years. If you don't replace these, you've just lost a valuable customer." I smiled gently and said, "Let me check your purchase history." I entered her information into our system. After a moment, I looked up and said, "According to our records, there's no history of any purchases under your name or contact information." Her face turned red. "I always pay in cash. Maybe that's why." I nodded. "That's possible. However, without proof of purchase, I'm unable to process a return or exchange." She grabbed the shoes and stormed out, muttering under her breath. I thought that was the end of it. But the next day, she returned, this time with a man who appeared to be her husband. He approached me aggressively. "My wife told me about the terrible service she received here yesterday. We're taking our business elsewhere." I remained calm. "I'm sorry you feel that way, sir. However, our return policy is clearly stated, and without proof of purchase, we can't process returns or exchanges." He sneered. "We'll see about that." A week later, I received a call from our corporate office. The couple had filed a complaint against me, alleging discrimination and poor customer service. They demanded I be fired. I explained the situation to my manager, who reviewed the security footage and my notes on the incident. He supported me fully and relayed our findings to corporate. Corporate dismissed the complaint, but the couple wasn't done. They took to social media, posting negative reviews and accusing the store of racism and unfair treatment. Our PR team got involved, issuing a statement emphasizing our commitment to customer service and fairness. They also pointed out that the couple's claims were unsubstantiated and that we had policies in place to protect both customers and employees. The couple's posts backfired. Loyal customers came to our defense, sharing their positive experiences. The negative attention shifted back to the couple, who eventually deleted their posts. Months later, I saw the woman in another store while I was shopping. She recognized me and quickly turned away, avoiding eye contact. This experience taught me the importance of standing by company policies and maintaining professionalism, even when faced with difficult customers. It also highlighted the power of community support and the importance of integrity in customer service. About a month after the social media mess died down, I figured things were finally behind me. My manager thanked me again for staying calm through the whole thing. Life at the store went back to normal. Sort of. Then the weird stuff started happening. First, a few fake one-star reviews popped up on our store's Google page again. All from accounts that were just created. They didn't mention me by name, but they used phrases like, rude employee, and disrespectful to loyal customers. Same tone as before. Same buzzwords. I flagged them, but they kept coming. Then a couple weeks later, I got a call from a friend who works at another location in the suburbs. She told me a woman and her husband came in with a crumpled receipt, asking if they could exchange a pair of shoes that fell apart after a few years. They didn't have the shoes with them. Just some random old sneakers they claimed were from us. The staff turned them away politely, but my friend recognized the description I'd given her of that couple. The woman even used the line, "You just lost a valuable customer." Same script. It wasn't a one-off anymore. These two were trying every store in our district, and somehow they figured out which one was mine and made me the target. One day I came into work and someone had left a small box on the counter addressed to the shoe snob. I opened it. Inside was a chewed-up pair of knockoff designer shoes and a sticky note that just said, "Nice customer service, smiley face," written in red ink. No one saw who dropped it off. We checked the cameras and all we could see was someone in a hoodie walking in and tossing the box on the counter before walking out. Creepy? Yeah. But I still tried to shrug it off. It got worse. Someone created a fake Yelp profile pretending to be me. They used my real name and photo, which, by the way, was only on my LinkedIn, and started writing nasty reviews about other businesses in the area. A bar down the street called our store, furious, asking why I'd left a review calling their bartender a drunk slob. I had no clue what they were talking about until I saw the account. The bio said, "Shoe expert. Truth teller. Not afraid to speak my mind." It felt like a slow-motion car crash. I had to prove to Yelp and LinkedIn that the account was fake. HR got involved. Corporate got involved again. Even the legal department started sniffing around. At this point, I knew I had to document everything. I started keeping a folder of screenshots, timestamps, call logs, anything I could get my hands on. I knew it was them. I just couldn't prove it yet. Then one night, after closing, I stayed behind to do some inventory work. I walked out the back door around 10 p.m., headed to the parking garage 2 blocks away. I heard footsteps behind me. I didn't panic right away. Downtown Chicago isn't quiet, even at night. But the steps matched mine. Turned when I turned. Sped up when I did. I ducked into a well-lit 24-hour diner and sat at the counter. The person didn't follow me in, but I saw a man in a baseball cap standing across the street, just watching. I waited 30 minutes before calling a rideshare and going home. The next day, I told my manager everything. He didn't question it. He pulled the security cam footage, and we handed it over to the legal team. But unless the couple did something clearly illegal or violent, there wasn't much the store could do. The harassment stayed low level. Just under the line. Like they knew exactly how to mess with me without getting caught. I finally reached out to an old friend who works in IT security. I asked her if there was any way to trace the IP addresses from the fake accounts, or the Yelp profile. She said she'd take a look, but it might take time. Everything was being masked with VPNs. Then one day, she messaged me. "I think I found something. You're gonna want to see this." The shoe lady's real name wasn't in any of the accounts. But one of the sock puppet emails used a username that matched a Twitter handle from years ago, a handle connected to a parenting blog the woman used to run. My friend found it in some old internet archives. It was weak evidence. Not enough to press charges. But enough to finally give me a direction. That night, I printed everything and took it to the police. They said they'd look into it. I didn't expect much. But then 2 days later, a plainclothes officer came into the store and asked to speak with me. I led him to the back. He said, "We visited the address linked to one of the emails. You were right to be concerned. These people, they've done stuff like this before." Turns out, there were similar complaints filed in other states, 2 in Indiana, 1 in Minnesota. Nothing ever stuck, because they always hovered right below the legal threshold. Just enough to harass, never enough to arrest. But now that I'd handed over clear digital footprints, screenshots, timestamps, cam footage, the case was different. I asked him if anything would come of it. he said. Maybe. But they're careful. If you really want this to stop, you might need to think like them. And that's when the idea started forming in my head. I'd spent months playing defense. What if I flipped the game? I didn't sleep much that night. My brain kept turning over what the officer said. If you really want this to stop, you might need to think like them. I wasn't sure what that meant exactly, but it stuck. The next morning, I got a private message on Instagram from a burner account. No profile picture. No followers. Just one message. Still pretending to be the victim? I didn't reply. I reported it. Screenshot it. Added it to the folder. That same day, my district manager called me. Someone had submitted a formal complaint to HR. This time, the story was I'd refused service to an elderly veteran, mocked him, and said he wasn't worth my time. The complaint was written like a Yelp review but sent through official company channels. Thing is, that never happened. Not even close. HR had to take it seriously, of course. I was put on a pending internal review, which meant no promotions, no bonuses, and mandatory retraining sessions until they closed the investigation. It felt like someone had sucker punched me. I sat in the break room and just stared at the wall for 10 minutes. Then something clicked. If these people were bold enough to fake being customers, post as me online, and now send fraudulent HR complaints, maybe they weren't working alone. What if this wasn't just petty revenge? What if they did this for sport? Or money? That night, I called my friend in IT again and told her everything, about the new HR complaint, the Instagram message, all of it. She paused and then asked, "Do you want me to look deeper?" I said yes. It took about a week, but when she called back, her voice was different. Quieter. More serious. "Okay, this is weird," she said. "I found a pattern. That Twitter handle tied to the woman's old parenting blog? It's connected to 5 other accounts. They all posted in the same forums. Same IP activity. But get this, one of those accounts sells customer retaliation packages on the dark web. Like, digital revenge for hire stuff." I just sat there. They offer services like fake reviews, false HR tips, doxing, spam reports, all under the table. Paid in crypto. So maybe this wasn't just some crazy couple with a grudge. Maybe I'd gotten caught in a game they ran regularly, for cash. I brought this info straight to the detective assigned to my case. At first, he looked skeptical. But once I handed over the screenshots and chat logs, he got quiet. "We're going to need our cybercrime unit to take a look," he said. They started building a digital trail. Meanwhile, I stayed quiet, stuck in retraining videos at work and biting my tongue every time a customer even slightly raised their voice. About 2 weeks later, something unexpected happened. A guy walked into the store, maybe late 30s, nervous energy. He asked for me by name. I walked out and introduced myself, thinking maybe he was a vendor or something. He said, "You don't know me, but I think you know my sister. Her name is Robin. Robin Lance." That was it. That was the woman's name. The one who brought in the torn-up shoes. My stomach dropped. "She's been going through some stuff," he said. "She doesn't really know when to let things go. I think she's been messing with you." "I'm sorry." I just stared at him. "She's done this before," he continued. "She targets people she thinks embarrassed her. I found out what she's been doing when my wife showed me a Reddit post she made under a burner. It was all about ruining a smug shoe clerk. And I saw your name." I asked him why he was telling me. He looked exhausted. "Because she's dragging the whole family into this. I lost a job last year because she sent anonymous complaints to my boss. I figured you deserved a heads up." I thanked him. Told him I'd already handed stuff to the police. He said he wasn't surprised. Then he handed me a flash drive. She keeps everything. Every message, every post. She's obsessed. That drive has copies I pulled off her laptop while she was sleeping. He walked out before I could say another word. I gave the drive straight to the detective. That was the last I heard for a while. Weeks passed. The fake reviews slowed. No more burner messages. Nothing new from HR. It felt like everything froze. Then one night, just after closing, the phone rang. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick it up. It was the detective. "We raided the address this morning," he said. "We have her in custody. And the husband. It's bigger than we thought." "Bigger how?" "She was running multiple accounts. Selling harassment packages. Not just digital, she had people physically follow targets, dig through trash, even stage customer confrontations. And there's more. Some of her clients? Lawyers. Small business owners. People who wanted to ruin competitors." I sat down. "We found logs, recordings, photos. She had lists. Your name was in one labeled, Retail Revenge. Ongoing." He said they were still sorting through it. That federal charges were likely. But there was one thing I didn't expect. She filmed herself in your store. That first day with the shoes. She was hoping to bait you into saying something wrong. Make you snap on camera. But I didn't. That's probably what saved me. There's more to the story, what they found, what happens next, what it's going to take to clear my name completely. But that's where I'm at right now. The trial took months to begin. During that time, I tried to go back to normal. But the truth is, I wasn't the same. Every time a customer raised their voice, I flinched a little. Every anonymous email made my heart skip. I even started using a different name on social media, just in case. When the trial started, I wasn't called as the first witness. Instead, they brought in someone else, another employee from a store in Indiana. Then another from Minnesota. Then someone from a completely different business, a cafe owner from Iowa. She was emotional. Said she'd lost 2 employees because of online hate, tied to fake reviews, fake harassment videos. She didn't know it was connected until the investigators looped her in. They were building a pattern. Showing the judge that Robin and her husband weren't just bitter customers. They were professionals at this. Running scams, collecting payments from other bitter people, getting off on the power of destroying someone's job or life with a few keystrokes. Then came my turn. I walked up to the stand with every screenshot, every message, and the flash drive. The prosecution had already gone through all of it, but they wanted me to explain the human side. What it felt like to be dragged through mud for doing my job. I told the truth. That I'd never raised my voice. That all I'd done was follow company policy. That after that, I was stalked, impersonated, accused, almost fired. I talked about the night I was followed. About the box on the counter. The 1-star reviews. The fake HR complaint. How I'd sat alone in my apartment, afraid to answer the phone. And then I admitted something I hadn't before. I said, there was a moment where I wanted to get even. Really even. I thought about posting her name online. Exposing her. I even wrote out the post and saved it. But I didn't send it. Because I realized I'd be just like her. That hit the room harder than I expected. The judge thanked me. I stepped down. Robin didn't look at me once. But her brother was there. He nodded when I passed him in the aisle. The defense tried to spin it, claimed mental illness, claimed she'd suffered trauma from a previous job, claimed she didn't understand the damage she was doing. But then the prosecution showed the final piece of evidence, a hidden folder on her computer titled Fails. Inside were videos she'd taken of herself, watching people she targeted cry, yell, even quit. One clip had her laughing after someone got fired because of a fake tip she sent in. She recorded herself celebrating. There was no coming back from that. The judge gave her 12 years. Her husband got 6. Conspiracy, cyberstalking, criminal impersonation, defamation, and harassment. But here's the kicker. The dramatic twist I didn't see coming until the very end. A week after the sentencing, I got a letter. No return address. Inside was a short handwritten note. You win. But you're not clean either. You took that flash drive. You didn't stop when you could have. You wanted revenge. Just like me. The only difference is you're better at pretending to be the good guy. It wasn't signed. But I knew the handwriting. I'd seen it on the sticky note that came with the chewed-up shoes. I sat there holding the letter, and yeah, I felt the heat rise in my face. Because part of me knew she wasn't wrong. I had crossed the line when I took that flash drive. I didn't tell the police right away. I used it as leverage first. I let myself enjoy the idea of watching her crash. But that's the thing about revenge. It never leaves you clean. Just different shades of dirty. I still work at the shoe store. I'm the assistant manager now. Most customers are good people. But every time someone comes in with a complaint, I think twice before reacting. I remember how close I came to losing everything, how close I came to becoming just like her. The story's over, but the consequences stick around. I won. But I don't feel like a hero. I just feel aware. And maybe that's what real revenge does. Not just to the target, but to you too.